All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of AYS Fight Club. I am one half of your prestigious host, Daniel Diaz. Alongside me, as always, is the prestigious Matt Bricker. Matt, what is up?
Hey, what's going on, buddy?
Not much. Me and you went through some sorrow this past weekend. Both of our teams were eliminated from the playoffs. My Titans lost to the Ravens. Your Bears lost to the Saints, but that's okay because our season's never over when you're a fight fan. And quite frankly, if your team is still in the NFL playoffs, I think you're a wiener. That's just it. I mean, the season doesn't even count. There's no fans in the stand. So congratulations on your participation trophy this year. All right. So all that being said, let's dive in. We got a packed show for you tonight. Well, we're going to start off with what we didn't get to last week. We're going to start off with the AYS Fight Club End of the Year Awards. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this started. Matt, we're going to start with Team of the Year. Matt, who are the nominees?
Oh, I'd have to pull it up. Pretty much any team in the I think it was like 9 different teams we had. Pretty much the awards covered anything from East Texas all the way to Alabama. So pretty much any fight team, any fighter in those areas are, pretty much nominees.
Right. And please note,
about 10 of them, I think, they got votes.
This is not this was put out for the masses to vote on. Me and Matt, we did not vote on this because we want to keep our integrity. This is for all the fans to vote. This is for the local fighters to put a poll out there to support them. So this is all them. So without further ado, let's announce AYS Fight Club, the inaugural awards, Team of the Year, the Fight Team of the Year. And that award goes to drum roll. All right, gonna put it in the comments. Here we go. Team of the Year is Gracie United. Team Jucal. Congratulations, Gracie United. I love Gracie United. I'm a member of Gracie United. Professor Rafael Ellwanger built something special in this area, and it's just a great team all around. We got Kurt Hullabaugh. We got a bunch of fighters on the come up. We got Gage Gill. Who else am I missing? We got Carlton Terrence. Matthew Stock, Professor Matthew Stock is training up some guys. We just had Dalton Lowe on here, part of Gracie United.
Kurt Hullabaugh himself with a flashy knockout there in his comeback.
Yeah. So yeah, congratulations, Gracie United. We don't have an actual award trophy to give y'all. We'll get there eventually one day.
We're just starting out.
We're just starting out. So right now, you get you get a comment. You see it like right there. It says Team of the Year, Gracie United. That's what you get so far.
Screenshot.
Ain't much, but it's better than nothing.
And I mean, I think they ended up like 18-1 as a team for 2020. I mean, several championships. I know David Gordon, as you said, Gage Gill. I mean, a handful of them won titles. Like 17-1, 18-1 as a team. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that, and like I said, Kurt, with a big time win to, get himself after leaving the UFC, getting himself back on track in that tournament. So just rolling around.
To get back on that tournament. He won within like the first 40 seconds of it. Just dominate his opponent. So congratulations to everybody. Congratulations, Professor Rafael Ellwanger. I cannot thank you enough for what you have built in our area. Good job. All right. Our next award is Fight of the Year. Let me go ahead and prepare that. I wish we could have like a drum roll sound because I'm not really good at making drums. All right. So, and our winner for Fight of the Year is Austin Swallow versus Gage Gill. We actually had both of them on this show. I promise this was not biased. This was fan voted. So don't come at us. It's not, maybe if you want to be part of Fight of the Year, come on AYS Fight Club.
Come on the show. There you go.
Come on the show.
Yeah. I mean, this was an amazing fight. I was cage shot for this one, doing commentary with Dynamite David Hardy for this one.
Yes.
I was there. I got a front row seat to this fight. It was amazing. A 5-round battle. I mean, it was close going into that last round. That's all you can hope for, just a back and forth battle, no stalling. A lot of times you'll get that where guys you can kind of have this, they'll kind of lay on each other for a second and recollect, but these guys didn't do that. Neither one of them. I mean, it was nonstop action from the first bell to the last bell, 25 minute or five 3-minute rounds because it's amateur, so it was 3-minute rounds. But I mean, it was nonstop from bell to bell.
Yeah, I actually got to see the replay of it, and I was, even though I knew the result, I was still up out of my seat. Just it was so, they definitely need to run that one back. What do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I would love that one. I mean, their skill sets are they're so close. You know, they could do that 100 times and split it 50-50. I mean, both these guys are so well prepared, and they, you know, they're a tough test for each other, and that's, you know, exactly what you want to see. So, I mean, they could run that thing 100 times, and I think it would go 50-50.
Yes. All right, on to our next award. We're going to have our Amateur Fighter of the Year. Amateur Fighter of the Year. I actually cannot wait for this, our winner, to make it to the pros. I think he's going to make it very, very, very far. I'm a huge fan of him. We got to try to get him on the show. All right, so our Amateur Fighter of the Year is Demas Chapa. Congratulations, Demas, if you're watching. If you're watching, we'd love to have you on one day. I'm a huge fan of your work. I love your style. Matt, take it over to you.
Yeah, I mean, he had 3-0 this year. A finish, some, you know, dominant decisions. I got to see him for 2 of those 3 fights, and man, he's just the chef. You know, he's cooking it up. I mean, just is very talented, very quick. You know, scrappy fighter, and you know that's all you can hope for. I think he's one of Matt Schnell's guys, so he's getting great train out there, and he's gonna be a hot little prospect.
Yeah. All right. So next, we're going to end it with our Pro Fighter of the Year. And then we're just going to name off the rest of the awards. I mean, because there was a lot of categories going on. But these were our premier awards we wanted to give recognition to. Yeah.
Our most popular categories.
Yeah, the ones who got the most votes are the ones we're painted like we're going to really talk about. All right, so our Pro Fighter of the Year is Steve Jones. Congratulations, Steve Jones. This was probably one of the only ones I actually voted in. I voted for AJ Fletcher. I'm a huge Ghost fan. Sorry, AJ, you didn't get enough votes, but you're the Pro Louisiana Gulf Coast Pro Fighter of the Year in my heart. That's all that matters. So, but hey, not to take away from Steve Jones. Steve Jones, congratulations. You're a beast, dude. Also a huge fan.
Yeah, Steve Jones is absolutely a beast. He's one of those guys that's definitely going to be UFC bound. If not, probably this year. I could definitely see him getting on the Contender Series this summer, something like that coming up. I mean, he was 3-0 in MMA, and also 1-0 as a pro boxer. So he took a pro boxing bout too. He's the AKA welterweight champion. Defended that title twice. Even won on LFA. He had a win there, and yeah, I mean, just. And as Mr. John Bishop just said, you know, they're both guys that are prominent in AKA American Combat Alliance. They put on an amazing show, which was actually, you know, we'll talk about them a little bit. That was our organization of the year, was AKA. And I was at their last show. Louisiana's kind of on ice right now with live shows. If not, I know they'd be up and running right now. You know, we'll just have to see what's going on. I think they have some meetings coming up. Hopefully we can get live action back. But man, you know, nobody puts on a show like AKA. I mean, just that black matte floor with the, you know, the teal writing and the gorgeous belts. I mean, it's a legit promotion all the way around. Like I said, I was lucky enough to get over there. Hopefully do some commentary work soon as well. But man, I mean, it's an amazing organization. As you said, I mean, our Amateur Fighter of the Year and our Pro Fighter of the Year, the majority of their bouts happened at AKA. So that kind of tells you a lot about the you know, the product they put on. Also, James Georgetown is their matchmaker. And for anybody who doesn't know who James Georgetown is, he is a legendary boxing figure in Louisiana. You know, we always talk about the godfathers of Louisiana MMA, Tim Crater and Rich Clemente and Kyle Brady. These guys didn't just start fighting. They had coaches, and one of their main coaches was James Georgetown. So these guys that we consider as godfathers to MMA, he is where they learned and got their knowledge from. I got to finally meet him in person. You know, he's an awesome guy. You know, he still coaches to this day. Actually, Sarah Davila, who we had on last week, he's her boxing coach, and I mean he's been around the sport for a long time. I think he told me it was like 35 years or something. I was like, man, I'm 35. He's been doing it, as long as I've been around. But I mean, he's got all kinds of stories. We talk for hours. And when you got somebody like that behind the helm that AKA has, you're going to put on amazing fights. He knows what he's doing. He's been around the business for a long time, and that's how you end up with matchups like what you get.
Yeah. Mr. John Bishop, again, GT is a legend for sure. Absolutely. Again, if you know anything about local combat in this area, Georgetown is a legend. That's someone who I would love to get on this show and just to pick his brain. The dude's been around forever. All right, but we have one more award.
We would have to block out the whole show because once he starts talking, that man has got some stories. I've been on the phone with him for hours.
Special show just for him.
We will have to block it out and make it the Georgetown show.
All right, we got one more award I would like to announce. All right, so it's called Fight Show Host of the Year. So, without further ado, our Fight Show Hosts of the Year are us. Hey, I'm not surprised, mother. All right, but yeah, that's right, Blake. Matt and Daniel, greater than everybody else. All right, so that being said, I'm not surprised. Matt, so let's rattle off the rest of our award winners. You got the list?
Yeah, I got a list here. Just starting, like I said, we had a lot this year. We're just getting started. We'll get it all, something a lot more figured out. But we wanted to do something just to recognize some of the fighters. It was a tough year, just in general. We just got kicked off. I mean, we're only on episode 13. By the time next awards come around, we're going to be deep into it. So, we'll get better too as it goes. But submission of the year, Justin Robinson. He had at Empire 5. He won with a Darce choke. So that's always impressive, especially at the amateur levels when you're getting a Darce choke. Knockout of the year, no surprise, is also at AKA. Now, though I'm telling anybody who has not seen this, just go YouTube it. Blaine Wallace at AKA 11. It was, if Mr. John's still on here, he can tell you about it. I've watched it 100 times. He lands an overhand right at the beginning of the third round. So you could tell, they're dragging, they've been through a war. And then he just lands a bomb like 10 seconds into the third round and drops his opponent. So Blaine Wallace, AKA 11. Go YouTube that if you have not seen it. It's a killer knockout.
There's something there's something about those third round knockouts, third, fourth round, fifth round knockouts. That's just so, like, people don't talk about it enough. Yeah, first round knockouts are great. Second round knockouts are great. Everybody loves knockouts. But when you get to those late rounds, those third, fourth, fifth rounds, where they're just dog tired, it's so damn impressive. They can muster up that much energy, power, strength, and technique, and getting that off in the late rounds. So I 100% agree. That is definitely worthy of knockout of the year.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like you said, those later round knockouts, they're not, more of your fluke knockouts come early where, man, he just caught him just right. And a lot of those later rounds, those are heart knockouts. Those are just grinding harder than the other person. Those are the legitimate
reach down in that well
knockouts.
You find whatever you have and just throw it.
Yeah, those are the legitimate, just hard fought knockouts are the ones that happen in the later round.
Yeah. All right. So what we got next? You just did submission of the year, knockout of the year. What else we got?
We have Rookie of the Year, which is Gabriel Vanderlei. He's out of Wisconsin, but he fights a lot in the Gulf Coast. He was 3-0 with 3 submissions. So it's hard to beat, it's hard, starting off quick and finishing all your opponents. That's an awesome way to get started. He had a fight at Atlas, and he's kind of fought around. So it's a good way to get your name out there and get around. He fights all over the place. That's the best way to get. I think that was it. We got them all.
That's it. All right. So let's go ahead and get into the big news of the week. Nate Diaz has been announced that he has an opponent, but they're keeping it hush hush from us. So they said Daniel's hinting at it could probably be Gaethje, but Chael Sonnen on his podcast said it was his sources are telling him that it was Diego Ferreira. Matt, why do you think? Why do we have secrecy right now? You think?
So people like us get on here and talk about them. It's all. It's I'm
It's
sure they
all
know
about
exactly what he's
speculation. I'm
doing.
all about some speculation.
Yeah, Dana White knows exactly what's going on. They know exactly what they're doing. It's it's the pro wrestling feel of what's happening next. I'm sure they know exactly what's going on. I would think the Gaethje, because I mean it makes sense. Breaking it all down,
Yeah,
seeing who's got
and they
who.
did announce it's definitely going to be at 155. That mark that's the only thing
Yeah,
Dana would give us. That's
yeah,
100% at
he
155.
did. Yeah, yeah, he did make it clear as 155. So especially with Connor and Poirier coming up next week, and Dan Hooker and Chandler. So that, I mean, it kind of, if Diaz is coming back in as 155, it makes sense that it would be Gaethje because he's the name at the top. And he said something about it'd be beneficial for both sides. Whoever wins, it's going to be really beneficial. So I mean, that could make sense if we still don't know what's going on with the title, but if Gaethje can beat Diaz or vice versa, it looks good on you to beat the other. So it could put. We just have to see what's going on with the title, but yeah, I can see how it could put you in the mix to beat the other. So I mean, to me, that makes sense. As much as they want to leave the speculation out there, because if they just say it's Gaethje, was like, okay, well, that makes sense. Let's go on to the next topic. MMA, being that it's 365 days, there's always something to talk about. There's next week's event, then there's the one the week after. So to kind of keep things relevant, you kind of drag it out a little bit, but it makes sometimes the easiest answer, is the right answer. And it just seems like that's, the right answer.
I will say this though, if it is actually Justin Gaethje versus Nate Diaz, I'm calling the cops on Dana White. That's just not a good matchup for Diaz. I think we're gonna. I think the myth of the Diaz chin is going to be exposed on that one. I think as soon as one, rest in peace to Nate's legs. He's always been prone to leg kicks, and they're matching up against one of the best leg kickers in the whole sport. And two, the dude takes so many unnecessary shots. And if you take unnecessary shots against Gaethje, I mean, you're going to die. But here's why I don't really think it's Gaethje. It's because when Dana and Nate both said that this is going to be part of him fighting twice in 2021. And if he's fighting Gaethje this early in 2021, I feel like what happens if he loses? What's that second fight? It's like it seems like they got a roadmap of what's happening. So part of me, I want to go with Chael Sonnen's sources when they said it was Diego Ferreira, because I feel like that could be his tune-up fight to see where it goes. But then again, what if he loses Diego Ferreira? There goes any draw that he has from then point on, because Diego Ferreira probably couldn't draw flies if he was covered in crap. But I'm looking down the line. Who else could it be? People currently without dance partners are Paul Felder, Rafael Dos Anjos, Tony Ferguson coming off a loss, and Charles Oliveira, who assumes he's getting the next title shot. So out of those four guys I just named, who would you like to see Nate match up with?
Oliveira would be a nice little matchup. Both of them really solid on the ground. Both of their solid striking. That'd be a good matchup. I don't know. The lightweight division, you don't have room to tune up. You got to jump in there. There are too many sharks in that sea. You've got to jump in there. If it was a different division,
the top 15. Good God, that's like
exactly.
you said, it's a Shark Tank.
If you had a different division with only a couple sharks in it, you could get your tune up. Not much is going to this lightweight division. It could change like that. There's so many huge names at the top. I mean, that's like a revolving door of talent because they're so good. There's so many people that can knock off anybody else. If you did a round robin, they'd all be, each other, at some point. It's not a division right now that you can tune up for. You need to, if you want it, you better jump in there and go to and take what's at the top. Because, I mean, you don't have time to sit back in that division.
Right. Personally, the names I named, I'd like to see him fight Paul Felder. I think that's the good scrappy fight. They'll just both stay in the pocket and trade. Definitely. I think that's actually a good tune-up fight for Diaz because I think that's a bad matchup for Felder. Dos Anjos, that'd be a good rematch. I mean, first fight, Dos Anjos handled him pretty damn well. And Tony Ferguson, that would also be a fun fight. I know, but then again, I don't see Dana wanting to risk having Ferguson come off a loss fighting Nate, because if Tony goes on a 2-fight lose streak, we won't know what's going to happen with his drawing ability. So it's all up to speculation. He's hitting that Gaethje. Chael Sonnen said his sources, who he's confident in, are saying Diego Ferreira. So only time will tell on this. So also, Speaking of the lightweight division, let's segue into what's been happening on today. Hold on. All right, Evan Wilkinson. How about Chandler versus Hooker? I think we're about to see some Bellator blood have some serious success in UFC. Okay, as we said last week, I don't know what Mike Chandler did to piss off Dana White to get him against Dan Hooker. Stylistically, this is a bad matchup for Chandler. But then again, we don't know what Mike Chandler we're getting in the UFC. I read a comment from on Twitter not too long ago about how someone said Mike Chandler is so overrated. He got knocked out by a featherweight. Blah. He got knocked out by Pitbull. Everybody gets knocked out by Pitbull. So I'm not going to hold that against him. I will never hold that against him. So Chandler versus Hooker, I'm going to take Hooker on this, but would I be surprised if Chandler won? No. All right, but going back to what we're segueing to. Okay, today on Instagram, or was it Twitter, one or the other, Dana White posted that he was in a meeting with Khabib Nurmagomedov. So we're in the speculation game right now. So Matt, let's speculate. What are your thoughts on this? Like, what do you think they talked about?
The weather, I don't know. When it comes to Dana White and Khabib, I don't know. I'm sure he's probably trying to entice him back, and I don't know. I know they were going to talk at the UAE Warriors event in Abu Dhabi.
Actually, I wanted to watch that so damn bad. They got some that looked like a damn good card, but yeah. So so the speculation going around is that they're pulling Khabib out of retirement. I doubt it, because if you go on Khabib's Instagram, look at all his stories. He's sitting at a table with Dana White, but he's also sitting at a table with Matt Sayre. He's also sitting at the table with Dean Thomas. So that tells me he was just there to watch the UAE card on looking for a fight. And I just look at the results on this. So spoiler alert, if you're a huge Dana White looking for a fight fan, I'm going to tell you exactly who's probably about to get this contract. Definitely Carlston Harris. That's somebody who I've been following for quite a while right now. He's out of where the hell do you go? He is fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, and he is a slick finisher, super slick. And he just finished. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the cat's name, because Russian names, you can just throw a whole bunch of Scrabble tiles on the floor, and there it is. We also had Ultimate Fighter veteran Eric Spicely fight on that card. Lost to Renat Fakhretdinov. I think Renat's going to get that contract. It is known that he is one of Khabib's boys. So I think those two are going to get that looking for a fight contract. So, but back to the Khabib Dana White meeting. Last week, I said that Khabib will fight again. However, the stars had to perfectly align for this. I feel like Conor has to beat Poirier. And if Conor beats Poirier, it's going to be GSP Conor. And whoever wins that is I think it's going to be GSP. I think GSP has to win for Khabib to come out of retirement. I don't think Conor can pull Khabib out of retirement. Do you think? What do you think? Am I wrong that? Because he's trying to. He's trying to. He actually had some comments today. Let me pull up these comments that Conor said. Because if anybody can talk somebody out of retirement, it's not going to be Dana White. It's going to be Conor McGregor. Because the dude can.
And that watch.
That watch was slick. That probably cost more than my car note.
It was $1.3 million watch.
How much?
$1.3 million from Jacob and Company. They made 18 of them.
Conor.
I looked it up. I clicked the link to it, read all the details. It's like, I mean, it's crazy. It's like an alligator strap with an 18-karat gold bracket. I mean, just ungodly amount of diamonds. It had like that bearing ball inside that rolls around in the dragon. Like, it was slick.
You know 1.3 million. Nobody's won the Powerball or the Mega Millions. When I win that, that's not a prediction. That's a spoiler. I'm winning those Mega Million, that Powerball. I am buying that watch. They made 18 of them. Well, I'll make sure they make number 19 for me. All right. So Conor made a comment about Khabib. again, if anybody can convince Khabib to come out of retirement, it's not Dana White, it's not Daniel Cormier, it's not GSP that's going to talk Khabib out of retirement. I feel like Conor could maybe, because Conor has a way of picking fights. The dude has just a talent for it. He said, I think Khabib's afraid of me. That's for damn sure. Hold on, let me restart. Let me do this in Conor, my best Irish voice. If you're Irish and you're offended by this, I am incredibly sorry, but you got to have the full Conor effect for this. I think Khabib's afraid to fight me. That's for damn sure, and I don't blame him. I fought the best of him that night. He fought the worst of me that night. He knows it. I know it. His team knows it. I had the answer to destroy that man. All right, so that's the best I could do for an Irish impression. I'm sorry, I don't do impressions, so deal with it. So what do you think of those comments? Do you think Conor was telling the truth, though, when he said that Conor fought the best? Khabib didn't fight the best Conor.
It wasn't so much what he said, it's how he said it. He was, before, he's been real brash and trash talking. He was so more, and this is the approach you would have to take for Khabib, not the trash talking. Obviously, we saw what happens. He doesn't go for that. Just, he was very matter of fact and calm in his delivery, and that's the way that he's going to have to drag Khabib out. He was just very factual and everything. He said, like, made everything as if it was very matter of fact. So I think it was more so his presentation. And yeah, I mean, anybody was, a lot of people said, hey, he's the only person that's taken around from Khabib. So a lot of it, I think, more so is his presentation. It's how he's doing it. He's, changing his approach. He's showing us more that he wants it. So it's all in the presentation.
Comment section comments. What do you think? Was Conor telling the truth? Did Khabib fight the worst Conor, and did Conor fight the best Khabib? Just watching Conor from way back in the day before he even fought in the UFC at Cage Warriors. That was not the same Conor we've grown watching his whole career. He wasn't zoned in. I feel like he was on the booger sugar during that time of his life. Very in his own celebrity. He bought his own hype, and he got lost in the celebrity. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that Conor was not his best self that night. But then again, was that the best Khabib? I don't know. I think the best Khabib we've ever saw was against Justin Gaethje, to be honest with you. I don't think I've ever seen a better Khabib performance than the night he fought Justin Gaethje. So maybe there's half truth to this. Maybe it wasn't the best Conor, but at the same time, it sure, in my opinion, it was not the best Khabib. So
yeah, and before, especially with the Donald Cerrone fight, it was just a whole different Conor. I was like, man, I'm just waiting for him to say something stupid before this fight. He never did, and his performance reflected that. So maybe that's
not only did
and he's kind of been on that road ever since, where it's just what he says is just how he used to. It was very sharp to the point, and like how it's like when I said recently why I decided to go with him over Dustin. It's not exactly what he says, it's just how he says it. He's saying just enough and then letting it go. Like, it's not like the real brash over the top, like you said, where he was just kind of off in the own, McGregor lands. He's kind of, like I said, before that Cerrone fight, it was a whole different person.
I gotta agree with you. When Conor's not talking, that's when he's at his most dangerous. Just let him talk at the press conference, and if he keeps talking after the press conference, beware. Like you said, he was quiet before Cerrone, and then all of a sudden, because everybody was kind of scared, like, what's going on with Conor? He ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
Then he gets in there and he beats the crap out of Donald Cerrone just by using his shoulder, then head kick, then a little bit of ground pound, and that was all she wrote. Like, we've never seen Cerrone get treated like that ever. So when he does make that tweet, expect a masterpiece, it kind of sends chills down your spine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so enough about Conor. We're done with Conor for the night. We're not done with Conor for tonight. Sorry. In the fight world today, especially in MMA, Conor can fart in a microphone and it's going to get at least 10,000 page views. It is what it is. So up next, we had All right, we're going to keep on Conor because they actually announced the press conference to UFC 257. And boy, let me tell you about that card. We got Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. Obviously, that's our main attraction. I'm still going with Poirier on this, and you're going to go with Conor. And let me put it out in the universe. I'm doing this right now. If Dustin Poirier wins that fight, I will get on air, live on air. I'm tempting the gods right now. I'm tempting the fight gods. If Dustin Poirier wins this, I will come on air, get a bottle of Dustin Poirier's hot sauce, and I will drink as much as I can. Give myself an ulcer. If that's what it takes for Poirier to beat Conor, I will chug hot sauce. I mean, my wife will probably get on for me for chugging hot sauce, but this is what we do as fans. We do irrational stuff. And to go back to
and if Conor wins, I'll chug proper 12.
I'll probably do that anyways. All right, and to go back to Evan's comment about Chandler Hooker, that is our co-main event. And this is what I can't wait for, is during that press conference, I feel like Conor is going to single out Mike Chandler. And he's going to belittle him worse than he did Jeremy Stevens. Who the is that guy? So I feel like he's going to pick on poor little Mike Chandler right here. I cannot wait for that because Mike Chandler is no stranger to the microphone himself. He's going to have a lot to say. I feel like the moment Conor's name just leaves Mike Chandler's mouth, I think that's going to be the highlights of that. And what's going to be best about that, we're going to talk about that press conference after it's over. All right, so before the Dan Hooker Mike Chandler fight, we have Jessica I versus Joanne Calderwood. I feel like the winner of that, I think that's gonna be the next title fight. Matt, your wife's calling you. Yeah, oh my Lord, I knew that was coming. All right, so yeah, before that we got Matt Frovova versus Ottoman Azatar. That's a good fight. I cannot wait for that one. Those are some damn good prospects. There's a reason they're putting them on the main card.
Right, exactly.
Before that, we got strawweight action. We got Mariana Rodriguez versus Amanda Ribas. I'm a huge Amanda Ribas fan. In our prelim card, we got Brad Tavares versus Antonio Carlos Jr. We got Shoeface going down to middleweight. I feel like he's going to have a horrible weight cut. So to all my gamblers out there, I think the safe money on this one will be on Brad Tavares because Antonio Carlos Jr., he was a big-ass 205er.
Big boy, yeah.
That cut's going to kill him. If anything, he should have gone up to heavyweight. And who else we have? Nazareth Hackprass. I think we talked about him before on our very first episode. Who did he beat last? Let's pull that up. He beat Alexander Munoz. That was the Lewis Olenek fight. That was August 8th. That was our first show. I love Hackprass. He's a very, very good fighter. He throws absolute fireballs in his hands and his feet. We got Juliana Pena back in action versus Sarah McMahon. And Khalil Roundtree is fighting again. I'm glad he did not retire. He's going to put that Tiger Muay Thai to good use versus Marcin Prachino. And we got Andrew Sanchez versus Makhmud Muradov. And Nick Lentz is actually fighting. I thought he retired. So glad to see the Nick Lentz is back in action. So that's going to be a fun little press conference. I can't wait for that. So, yeah, UFC 257, that's going to be January 24th. That's coming right up. Actually, I think that's next week.
Yep. It's next weekend, yeah.
Time flies. I'm just going to go ahead and announce it. Next week is the Conor McGregor Dustin Poirier show.
For sure.
All right. Next up, we have the UFC on ABC, the debut. We're finally mainstream family network. UFC is a family show. Tell everybody. It's not the Human Cockfighting League. It wasn't on Fox Sports, the Fringe Sports Channel. No, we're on ABC. This is Disney-owned programming. The UFC is on. MMA. I'm very excited about that because, like we said last week, this was like not too long ago. It was a pipe dream to even consider this being on local stations like ABC, major broadcasting. Like we had to stay up late just to read results on MMA Underground or rent cassette tapes. Long way from then Spike TV, then these pay-per-views every other month. It felt like it's just chugging along. Like you got to say, of all the sports out there, UFC has had the most amazing trajectory of coming from nobody wanted to watch it. It has such a negative stigma to it, to being so mainstream that quick from 1993 to 2000. It's 2021. Good God, time flies. I'm getting old. So from 1993 till present day, the ride it's been. I'm proud of it. All right, so
we talk about this before. Kind of jumping off for a second. We've mentioned this before. Is this MMA is a sport that we're getting to see grow. All these other sports have been around for 100 years plus. So this is the first time just this generation of people alive are getting to see a sport evolve. Like you said, we're seeing it to where we had to read it from the underground forums to where now it's on anybody with a TV can turn it on and see it. You don't even need cable to see it. So, I mean, it's evolving progressively in the right direction, and we're got to see that from day one. I mean, I remember watching UFC 1, the very first event, and just to see it grow from there, so, for us, it's a different experience because we actually get to see a sport grow. So, we got that different vantage point of it too.
Mm-hmm. And another thing on top of that, if you compare this to like every other sports, just put in perspective, if the NFL was in its infancy, like MMA still in its infancy, the Super Bowl still wouldn't exist. They'll be playing for the NFL championship. The NFL AFL merger will never happen. In NBA perspective, the ABA NFL merger still hasn't happened. Put it in baseball perspective, minorities couldn't even play baseball when they're at this stage in their infancy. But this is a global thing. Like we're getting more and more evolved as it goes on. I said it last week. It's like every year a new country bursts onto the scenes. I mean, France just legalized legit MMA, and that's a huge damn deal. Because their old rules, they had like modified rules for safety. You couldn't grapple against the fence. You had to be placed in the middle. So that was a huge detriment. It wasn't an actual MMA fight. It was just, a controlled. The less control a fight is, the more legit it is. And
like Dana White said, we all speak the language fight. It's in our DNA, as he is famously quoted for saying. Everybody knows. Everybody can watch a fight and know what's going on. That's why you see people a guy from Poland fight a guy from Brazil. And, you don't need to speak the same language to, put on a great show in this sport. Everybody understands what fighting is.
Yeah, I see two crackheads fight down at Kangaroo on University in Hammond. I'm going to sit should I watch? Probably not. I should probably tell them to cut it out. No, I'm going to watch. I'm a public school teacher. I should not be like a little part. I mean, as a professional, I have to make sure they have to stop fighting. I'm not going to let kids fight. So please don't assume that about me. But there's a part of me when I see it, it's like, fight. Because everybody loves a fight. Dana White hit the nail on the head when he said fighting is in our DNA. That's just even in the Bible, they mention wrestling. I mean, it's combat sports is a sport as old as time, but MMA is a brand new thing still to this day. It's brand new. We still have yet to see fighters who grew up with the sport. We're barely seeing that now. So if you're like, we gotta wait for these kids born in like 2006, 2007. That's when we're going to get these real legit out of these world talented fighters, because they were growing up in MMA gyms. Like example, Sarah's sons last year, they're growing up in the gym. We have never seen fighters who grow up in an MMA gym. We've seen fighters grow up in like a jiu-jitsu gym. We've seen them grow up in karate dojos, kickboxing arenas. You name the combat, we've seen people grow up with that, but we've never seen a fighter grow up in an mixed martial arts gym.
I mean, MMA has always been a transition sport. But like you said, when that generation comes along, it's going to be their sport. They're not going to train wrestling and jiu-jitsu and
Perfect.
boxing. They're going to train MMA. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, even looking back, Ken Shamrock was, a wrestler. That's how they touted it was, this jiu-jitsu guy versus this wrestler. And they all
Yeah.
come from these backgrounds. Nobody was an MMA fighter. No one really is an MMA fighter even right now because, like they say, when you're back against the wall, you're going to turn to what you know. And we see these with a lot of these fighters. When their back is against the wall, they automatically go for a grapple or a takedown if they're a wrestler. They start swinging if they're a boxer. Those instincts kick in. With this next generation, they're going to be MMA fighters.
Right.
They're going to be trained MMA. They're not going to be trained all these other things and then put together, molded together. They're going to be trained MMA as its own entity.
Yeah, and I love that you called it MMA a transition sport, and we're about to exit that realm where MMA is a transition
Right.
sport because, like you said, like these wrestlers, like most famously recently, one of the best wrestlers I've ever seen amateur wise, Bo Nickel, he's going to be dipping his hand in MMA, but we're fixing to see less of that because if you don't grow up with MMA, you're not going to go very far. So plus, by the way, if you don't know who Bo Nickel is, YouTube him. I think he has the athleticism and the damn wrestling pedigree to take anybody down at will. He's gonna be like Khabib, but at welterweight, American, and we can understand him when he talks. All right, so getting back to brass tacks here, let's get down to UFC on ABC Fight Card. All right, let's start off with Joaquin Buckley versus Alessio De Shikro. But I feel like he's being led to the slaughter right here. I think they're propping Joaquin Buckley up to be the next big thing at welterweight. So what are you thinking?
Yeah, absolutely, definitely going with Buckley. Buckley's going up, and Alexis is going down. I mean, he's lost like 2 or 3 in a row already. Buckley's headed the opposite way. If you go on DraftKings, I think Buckley is the highest salaried fighter for the night.
I don't blame him. Like when he fought Jordan Wright, he just walked him down. And he was throwing heater after heater after heater. If you're a baseball pitcher and you throw that many heaters in a row, you're going to need surgery on your shoulder. So,
and that was after his knockout of the year performance there. So, I mean, he is just, red hot right now. And like I said, his opponent's going the other direction. He's our 3 in a row, 2 in a row, something. I think it's 3. He's lost his last 3. So yeah, I mean, I think this is just another way to showcase Buckley, get him on ABC, help build his fan base up. First card of the year, get him going hot early.
Yeah, and another fight that's happening right after that. It's 2 people. They're fighting each other. This is kind of like a dream matchup for the people who have followed them for a long time. Is Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Li Jingliang. I mean, they want to prop one of these guys up as they need to grow their fan base, and this is the card to do that, especially for Ponzinibbio. That, by the way, I'm taking Ponzinibbio in this fight. Who do you got?
Yeah, I'm going Ponzinibbio. Just if he can stay healthy and he can stay active, that's the thing. He gets right there, and then something happens, and he's gone for a year or 2, or I think he's coming off like a 2-year layoff. But I mean, I think both of their last fights, they both fought Neil Magny, and I think so. And Ponzinibbio got the win, and
that's true.
Did not.
Yeah, Yi did not. But I'll say this about Yi, the very entertaining fighter, and if he wins, he's going to capture
absolutely,
it. Yeah. Dana White's he loves his markets. He wants to capture as many markets as possible. He won't. I mean, China does have a champion in Zhang, but in that culture, the males rule, just like in Poland. Joanna was a champion, but their star is Jan. Am I wrong?
No, not at all. And actually, there's a very popular Polish MMA website. It's all in Poland. You got to translate it, but of course, I go through the trouble and translate it. It's MMA Rocks. It's MMARocks.pl is the website if you ever want to go check it out. Of course, I highly recommend checking it out. They did a list of like the top 20 Polish fighters for 2020, and of course, Jan was the number 1 Polish fighter in all of Poland. Just his performance, his popularity has shot up. They have an award in Poland, I guess similar. I guess like I don't know, like Time Magazine's Person of the Year, something similar to that in Poland, and he was like a contender for like the Person of the Year. He finished like 5th or 6th. So I mean, it's huge in a lot of these cultures. These fighting, So he's big into culture in general, definitely. But yeah, I mean, he's their hottest thing right now. But
Right.
yeah, getting back on track. But yeah, China is definitely a market they would like to have that same influence in.
Yeah, and like same with Dana White and that ever elusive Mexican market he's been trying to capture since God knows when. He almost caught it with Cain Velasquez, but then Cain Velasquez got caught by Junior Dos Santos and was never the same again.
Then almost with Yair Rodriguez. It's almost
that close with Yair.
That was close with Yair, yeah.
And he was almost close with Brandon Moreno. He's going to get that market one day. That's his white whale. It's the Mexican fight market. He is dying for that market. I'm pretty sure he would sell some souls, not his own, but I'm pretty sure he sold his soul a long time ago. But he has a collection of souls. Yeah, I'm sure he'd sell every single one of them to get that Mexican market. All right, and co-main event. This is a fight for the fight fans out here. Carlos Condit versus Matt Brown. I am a diehard Carlos Condit fan, and I'm a fan of Matt Brown. All right, and Matt Brown said an interesting quote that this is going to be probably his last go around, and he's going off. He's going to coach, so that means that's usually when fighters talk about their retirement plans before the fight. I feel like their heart's really not in it.
They've already given up a little bit. Yeah. Exactly what I was gonna say. I'm going with Condit. A lot of it is for that Brown saying already that I think this is it. So if you already got it in your mind that you're downhill from here, that intensity comes off a little bit. I mean, Matt Brown is still a killer. He's not going to go in there and give up. I'm not saying that at all.
Oh,
he's going to go in there and fight. But still, a little bit in there is when that guy is 100% killer mode like Carlos Condit is, and then even if you have just that edge of you saying, man, this is going to be it, this is it, you're not 100% invested in going in there to kill, you could get caught. And I think that's what's going to happen to him. His heart's already out the door a little bit. I think that's what's going to cost him.
Yeah, I mean, Carlos Condit's not coming in as his prime self. I mean, he's been in too many wars. He's got too many miles to treads off the tires for both of them. I'm a huge fan of both of them, and I'll never pick against Carlos Condit. If you matched up Carlos Condit against the bazooka, I'm picking Carlos Condit every time. I'm just that big of a fan of his, especially in his WEC days. I saw him fighting WEC. I became a fan then when he came back against Rory McDonald in that fight. When Rory McDonald was supposed to be the heir apparent to GSP, he came back and won in that 3rd round. That's when I became a diehard of him. And when he won that interim title, I was so happy. And then the Diaz fanboys tried to take away my happiness, and I didn't let them.
He had a great fight with that Robbie Lawler fight. That's always one of my favorite Carlos Condit fights.
That in
January 2016 when he had that fight. Yeah, so he's had a lot of wars, but this is for the fans. I think they did this one for the fans on ABC. I think this is something for us.
Definitely some fan service right here, and I'm not complaining about it. I'm looking forward to that fight more so than I am the main event, to be honest with you. And main event time, we got Max Blessed Holloway versus Calvin Kattar. I'm going with Kattar on this one, actually. I think Holloway Holloway is on the way out. I think he's been in too many wars himself. I think the tread's coming off his tires. And I think Calvin Kattar has all the momentum in that division right now. So I'm going to go with Kattar. He just beat Dan Ige, and he just beat the absolute dog crap out of Jeremy Stevens. So I think his time's now. And I think Dana White said the winner of this is probably going to be the next in line between the winner out of Volkanovski and who's Volkanovski fighting again? Featherweight. I'm drawing a blank here. Why am I drawing a blank? I can't believe I'm doing this.
I don't know. I am too.
I don't want to Google it. I'm going to Google it. I have to. I feel like so unprofessional doing this. I should know this. Da, 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 da. Oh, Brian Ortega. How the hell did I freaking forget
Ortega.
that?
Yeah. Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I disagree with Dana on this. I don't think it should go to the winner of Cater and Holloway. If anything, I feel like you should match up Yair Rodriguez versus Magomed Sharapov, and that should be who fights the winner. Just take the top four, make a little tourney. Because I think this is going to be the year as Zabit. By the way, I meant to say that a while back. So, what do you think about that take by me? Zabit Magomed Shamirov. This is his time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's just getting him in there. Yeah, I mean the dude is just an absolute killer. Yeah, it's definitely he's gonna end up with it before the end of the year for sure. As far as this one, I think Holloway is on his way out, but I don't think just yet. I think he's gonna do enough to get the win, but it's not gonna be a 50-45 or 49. I could see even being a split decision. I don't think the Holloway's going to go in there and dominate. Like I think he'll do just enough to win. But yeah, I mean, the tread's coming off the tires fast. I mean, you can only take so many wars. I mean, and
Especially
it
those
don't matter
wars.
how old you are.
Volkanovski.
Yeah, age is absolutely irrelevant. I mean, it's a lot of it is your shelf life. I mean, just how much tread you wear off the tires. If you go into these wars, just day after day after day, you could be 30 years old, you're going to be out the door quick because you have no more left. You can be 40 or 50 and it just get in, get out, so a lot of it is just the natural tear, and Holloway gets into those wars, and
That's
that's
why
just where
heavyweight
he's
fighters
young,
tend to
but
be on the older sides because heavyweights
yeah,
don't go in wars. They're in and out, even
right,
if they're on the losing end of it. Like look at Alistair
yeah,
Overeem, for example. He's been finisher or finished a lot in his career, and he's in his 40s. Whereas Max Holloway, he's not even pushing 30 yet, I believe. I think he's almost 30, if not 30. And he's how old is he actually? He's 29 years old. But the wars he's might as well be 55.
right.
All right, so that does it for UFC on ABC. Matt, I think that's it for us tonight. We don't have any guests tonight. We got our awards out of the way. So next week we will be definitely talking about Conor Dustin. That's probably what we're going to be dedicating the whole show around. We're going to try to get some people on to talk about that fight with us. So, Matt, anything you'd like to add? Oh, we almost forgot KSW. Oh, almost forgot that one. You got some breaking KSW news.
Yeah, we'll talk about Martyn
Ford.
Ford. Big boy, Martyn Ford. A lot of people may not realize they probably have seen him before. He's been in a lot of action movies. He's never a main star, but he's always that big enforcer that's in the movies. He's working. Blake trying to throw me off here.
Blake, I'm not even going to put that comment out there. I'm not going to do it.
Trying to throw me off. Martyn Ford is a big boy. He just weighed in at KSW at 150 kilograms, which is like 330 pounds.
Yeah,
he is a beast. He's saying that he's fighting. He's saying that he's fighting in June. He's finally going to fight in June. What I'm hearing is
how the hell can he make weight by that time? He's a big old boy. Ain't no way he's going down to 265 that quick.
It's a different country. Their commissions are totally different. They can pretty much
good point.
Do
they can fudge it
what they want to do. But he's saying June. What I'm hearing is it's going to be the first show that fans are actually allowed to fill stadiums for.
Okay.
So that's why he's saying June. That's what I think. That's why he's saying June. But if it's longer, then they're going to hold him out. If it's another year, they're going to hold him out another year. He was supposed to debut like a year ago, and that's always been the whole thing. Is he's going to sell tickets. I mean, he's just a freakish monster if you haven't seen him before. And that's their heavyweight division has always been their kind of their moneymaker division as far as people like Popek Monster, just these crazy creatures. Just that's always been their thing. It's looking like it's going to be from what I'm hearing, a DJ. His name is DJ Jocks or DJ Docs. He's actually 1-0 as an MMA fighter. He's got an extensive like karate background, but he's a huge music producer. He's real popular in Poland, like with the rap music and stuff like that. So I think it's gonna be that with Martin. Oh yeah, they will. They're gonna pay them, and it's gonna be, they'll sell out the place. I mean, it's just, that'd be like us saying Eminem's gonna get in the MMA fight. Like that's what he is over there. Like he's there, like that. I mean, it's crazy. That's what they do over there. It's a little bit of a free show thing, but I mean, and Martyn Ford, he was just at American Top Team not long ago with Scott Askham training, who was the former KSW middleweight champion. A couple days ago, he's in England training with their like gymnastics team, working on aerobics and stuff like that. So I mean, he's and like I said, he's been training for a while. He's supposed to have his debut, but they're waiting for the crowd because they know they can make a lot of money off of it. He's going to be a huge attraction, just like anytime Popek Monster fights. Big rapper, and he's got the tattooed eyeballs, and he did the scarification, so he's got all these massive scars on his face that he had surgery to. I mean, just out of this world type personality. He's like 50-50 in KSW, but he sells out every time that he's on the card because he's just one of those kind
of. That's all that matters. Like, and you draw. It doesn't matter what your record is to a promoter. Yeah. You could be perfect example. Bob Sapp, crappy MMA record, but if you tell a Japanese crowd that Bob Sapp's fighting, he's selling out the Tokyo Dome.
So 70,000 people. Yeah, absolutely. Same thing. And like I said, that side of the world is different. That's how it goes. It's a. But the thing is with KSW is they put something like that on, but the other 8 fights, because it's normally 9 fight cards, those other 8 fights are the like best upcoming talent you can find in Europe. So they do it right. They set up their young talent right. They get these, I hate to say free show. I hate to say that because that's not what I want MMA to be. But to a point, I mean, the attractions.
There's a better term for freak show fight. We got to come up with a term for it.
We'll coin something, but somebody like Martyn Ford obviously he shouldn't be a main event. He's debuting, and the guy he's fighting is 1-0, a 44-year-old DJ who's 1-0. That shouldn't be your main event, but it will be because it's going to draw the people in. And then when you got 50,000 people in Warsaw, then you can put all your hot young talents coming up and get some eyeballs on them, and they're like, oh my God, look at that's how you get all these people like Parnas and all these guys, even like Gamrot and Soldich. They were under these shows like this, so I mean their model's working, so they're making money. They haven't shut down. They're still running. They're building every year. They've been around. So, hey, it's working. And like I said, that world is different. That culture is different. That's how it goes over there. It works.
Yeah. It doesn't matter what your record is. Can you put a butt in the seat?
Right.
That's the name of the promotion game. Yep. I mean, it doesn't, like, fans can hate it all they want. For example, fans hated the idea of WWE wrestler CM Punk going into the UFC with not even a single amateur fight to his name. But guess what? If you go look at those prelim numbers, he has pulled some of the best prelim numbers the prelims have ever seen. So there's something to that. Yeah. For another example,
it's exactly the same thing that KSW does, right?
Yeah, Brock Lesnar had no business in those main events against Randy Couture, but they put him there. He's still one of their biggest draws ever, and he hasn't fought since 2009, I think. Well, I forgot UFC 200 against Mark Hunt, but still, that the projection. If you go look at the UFC 200 projection before Brock Lesnar, they're only slated to sell like I think it was like I want to say 800,000, but then they announced Brock Lesnar. It shot up another 200,000 buys just by that. So, hey, I'm all for it. Martyn Ford versus DJ Rocks. Let's do it. I'll watch it. I want to see Martyn Ford. This because he's a big old boy. But I'm kind of disappointed he is fighting DJ Rocks. I wanted to see bodybuilding power versus Polish power.
Yeah, I don't. They're not. They want to be able to keep him around for a while, I'm sure. So you don't want to feed him to the guys like Putz and guys like that who are legitimate, world's strongest man, but he's also got 30 pro MMA fights. You don't want to put him in there as somebody that's going to squash him and destroy him. So, that's how they do it. They get 2 popular guys, 2 young guys, and put them in there. That way they can keep Ford going for a while and just see. You never know. Like you said with CM Punk, it didn't work out good. But like with Brock Lesnar, it did. You know, he became the world champion. So you just never know how these things can go. It just depends on how serious they take it.
Yeah,
We'll find out with Ford how
example.
serious he is.
Look at what's his nuts? Jake Paul, for example. The dude is a draw. He's getting people wanting to fight him who are actually professional fighters who have no business wanting to fight somebody who's only fought 2 pro boxing fights against non-boxers. You got Dylan Danis wanting to fight Jake Paul. It just makes no damn sense. But you know what? He puts the butt in seats. That's all that matters.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a fine line now between sport and entertainment. You know, it's kind of coming to where it's those lines are becoming blurred. Just like any other sport has done, you know, where entertainment and sport bleed together. Like I said, we're just around for this evolution of the sport to where we're seeing that bleeding together of entertainment and sport.
Yeah, we'll call it that. We'll call it a sports entertainment fight. No, I don't like calling it a freak show fight because all fights are freak shows, really. Yeah. So we'll call it. It's not.
I like that sports entertainment fight. A sports entertainment fight. I like that.
We just came up with a new term on AYS.
We got it.
All right. So next week we're going to be talking. We're going to have Carlton Terrence on. We're going to try to get more people on this so we could talk Conor Dustin. I want that to be the Conor Dustin show. And if anything else happens this week, we'll definitely talk about it. All right, Matt. So anything you'd like to say before we get out?
I'll just make sure I wear a different Conor shirt. Aside from that, first rule AYS Fight Club. Tell all your friends about the Fight Club. Let's get more people in here. Y'all interact with us in the comments. That's what it's here for. Jump in there, throw us a question. Just, you know, hang out with us. Just talk stuff with us in MMA. That's what we're here for.
Absolutely. All right. So until next time,